Hey guys, so in this lecture we're going to be continuing our discussion on DOM elements. So I already showed you how to fetch the document elements using getElementById in the previous lecture. So let's go and see what are the other options we have. So the other options that we have is we can get it by ID, definitely that's what we saw. We can get it by tag name, we can also get it by class name, we can also get it by CSS selectors, and we can also get it by HTML object collections. So let's try to see each of these and try to understand what we can do with this. So very easily, we already have a p tag that we created and it's called sample. Let me try to access it. We can access this by document.getElementById, and let's pass in the ID, which was sample. And then if I want to access it and I need to update something, I can do that very well. Now if the element is found, the method will return the element as an object. If the element is not found, then it will return nothing but a null. So if you want to store it, let's say variable my sample is equals to something. In this scenario, if you try to do a console.log of my sample, if it finds the object, it will represent the object. Let me go open the console. Let's clear this, and I had a typo. Document. Okay. Document. There was an extra E. Let me clear this. Let me run this. And you can see I got the entire object, which was my sample, which is the p tag. And it's a big one. So it's just a paragraph, but it has so many properties and methods with it. So you can use and encache on any of these. You can see these are the actions. So what are the actions possible? You have offset height, you have on aux click, before copy, before on blur, on cancel, on play, click, close, context menu, copy, so many things, right? Most of the things are very obvious based on the name that it has. Let's say on pointer cancel, on pointer down. So this is nothing but the pointer. You can see my mouse cursor. On pointer leave, on reset, on resize, what should happen, so on and so forth. The other one is the tag name. So let's just add the tag here and let's copy this so that we know what we're doing. Let's try to access it with the tag name. So the tag that we are looking for is the p tag. Now I do this and let me change the method. So instead of get element, I will have to do get elements because there can be more than one. And then we say by tag name. And then I do a sample2. Let me just comment this out because there'll be too much of data displayed. Let's run this. Okay, it did not run yet. Okay. Oh my goodness. So you see the first, it's nothing but an array object. So the first object is your paragraph tag. And then when you go down, there should be a one something, and that will be your next paragraph tag. So you can have two paragraph tags out here. Yeah, that's the second one. You see that? So the sample, and the first one was the demo. The next is fetching by class name. Let's copy this once again. Let's move down to the class name. Let's say my sample3, and let's add a class equals sample class. Okay, let's use this and pass it out here, and then say get elements by class name. Now the reason is we have elements instead of element because there can be more than one element with the same class. So again, if you do this, the answer should be the same. You can see 0, and then there'll be 1 down there. Now let's move on to the next one, which is by CSS selector. So what happens is if you want to find all the elements that matches a specified CSS selector and not just one CSS, let's say ID, class names, types, attributes, value of attributes, in that case we use something called as a query select all. So let's try to do that. Variable x is equals to document.get, query selector all, and now we pass in the query, which is p.sample. If I do a console.log, it will give me the p tag. Okay, so we have query selector all p.sample class because the class name is sample class, and then we do a log of x, console.log of x, and that's how we get the p element again. Okay, to see the next one, which is by HTML object collections, let's try to create, let's clear this again, output, console. Okay, so we have this. Let's try to create a small form so that I can explain you how we do it. Let me just quickly type it. So let me just tell you what all I have done here so far. So I created a form. So you can see the form tag starts and the form tag ends here. The form has two input fields, which is first name and the last name. It has a submit button. So you can see the submit button. It also has a button which is outside the form. So it's not inside the form, it's outside the form. And it has a section to display the form content, which we will write the function for. So let's write this function, my function, which will happen on click of the try me. So function, my function, we've written that. Now let's try to get the form which is of ID form1 from this form using the HTML collection. The way we can do it is by using the document. So let's say variable x is equals to document dot forms. So there is this collection which is called document dot forms. Now we can search for form with the ID that we need, and the way we do it is we put it in the box bracket and say form1, whatever was the ID. Then we create a field, text is equals to something, and then we have another for loop. Let's create the variable I outside. Let's move the initialization here. Let's do I equals to 0. I is less than x dot length, which is the number of fields that the form has, and I plus plus. Let's give a space, open bracket, close bracket, and let's try to type in. What we will do here is we will just get the text, whatever it was, and then we'll loop through every element which is in the form. So element of I, and then get the value of it. And very simple, very straightforward. And let's just add a BR tag so that it's in the separate line. And now once we have the text field, let's try to update it in the form content. So how we do that is we do a document dot get element by ID and get the ID as form content. Okay, now I have this ID. Let's update the inner HTML for this with the text. Okay, I think this should work. Let's run it. Let's try it. And the answer is Donald Duck and submit, because that is also one of the form contents, and that's why you see all three of them displayed. That was easy, right? Well, it took a lot of code to be written, but ultimately you have to write your HTML, and JavaScript can just facilitate. So there are other HTML objects that you can access, like for example document.anchors, document.body, document element, which means what type of element it is, document embeds, document forms, which we already saw, document head, document images, document links, document scripts, and document title. Happy coding, and try your luck with some of these, and let me know how it goes in the Q&A section.